Hi everybody, tonight I'm going to be making some tumbler wraps for Mother's Day. I'm going to get all my graphics off the VECTEEZY website and I'm going to show you how easy it is to go in, grab what you need and go back to your Photoshop and get your tumbler designs done. Here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is go into the VECTEEZY website and we're going to search for what we're looking for. I think the first tumbler that we're going to make will be a daffodil tumbler. So I'm going to search daffodil. I want to get some pretty daffodil graphics to put on this tumbler. And there's no mom in the world that don't like daffodils. They're beautiful. So let's just scroll down through and see what we got here. I love this website. I subscribe to it and I would suggest that if you're going to be doing any amount of design work that you would do the same. So I'm still looking here. I haven't found what I like yet. I'm just going to click to the next page. I think this one is pretty cute. Let's grab that one. We'll download that. Because I'm logged in here, I can download it for free. Because I have an account, I get a lot of premium graphics. There's no charge or no attribution required. If you're not subscribed to the page, you may have to provide attribution if you use the graphics. And some are premium and you just can't get them unless you have the account. Okay. So it says want to customize the image. Let's have a look in here. Okay, no, we can't do that. Okay, so I've already downloaded it. It's down here in the left-hand corner of my Chrome browser. So I'm just going to double click on it. It's going to open it up. You can see here that you have an EPS file, which you would open in Illustrator. And if you open that in Illustrator, there's all kinds of layers there that you can manipulate, so you can pick out exactly what you want out of it. I'm not doing this tutorial in Illustrator tonight. I'm just doing Photoshop. So we're just going to double click on it and open it up in Photoshop. Okay, so it's a really pretty graphic. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this background. And the way we would do that on this image is just turn the lock off background, and that turns it into a layer that you can play around with. So just go up and get your magic wand tool and make sure contiguous is not checked, because that way it'll get little bits inside here as well. And I'm just going to click on that and hit delete. Okay, you can see that we have that image isolated now. So we're going to hit Control D, and that's going to take the selection out of it. Now I'm going to set up my template file for my 20-ounce tumbler. So you go File, New. I always set up my tumbler templates at 9.3 inches by 8.2 inches at 300 resolution, 300 pixels per inch, and we'll hit Create. Okay, so we get our background layer here. We can just leave that as is. Okay, so we're going to just go back to our image that we downloaded. We're going to hit Control A and hit Control Shift C. You don't have to hit Control Shift C. Control C should do it for you. I usually copy multiple layers at a time, so I always hit Control Shift C, and that's a copy merged shortcut. So it'll merge the layers that you have selected and copy them as one image. So let's go back to our tumbler template. We'll paste that image in there. Okay. So let's position this now in a way that it will look nice once we add some more graphics. So we're going to add a bit of color now to this background layer. So just double click on the layer. And it'll open up the layer style panel. We're going to choose a gradient, so we just click on gradient here. That's one I had selected earlier. In your gradient panel here, you can just click on gradient and it opens up all the different categories of gradients. These are third-party gradients, and that's where I got that green and purple. I think I might go with that. I might check out a couple more just to see what they'll look like. That's a little weird. That's a little bit too much. That's a little bit not enough. Might be okay. I kind of like the green and purple though. Let's go back and find that again. Where did I see that? There's an enormous amount of gradients in this package that I have here. This is nice too. This got a yellow and a green and a blue. I think I might try this one. That's nice, but I'm going to need to reverse it. So just say okay. Now we'll reverse that. Oh, that is reversed. Okay. We take the check mark off reverse and it'll put it back the way it was. It's a little bit bright. I'm going to edit that up a little bit. I'm going to make those colors a little bit softer. So to edit the gradient, you just double click on the gradient box here. This window is a little stretched out here. I don't really like it like that. So what we need to do with this, on the gradient, it shows you all the colors that are included in the gradient. To edit the colors, you just double click it, or actually not double click, just click on it, and down here it comes up, it says color. So double click, shows you the current one. Okay, that's a little bit better. We don't want it too dark or too bright. That one looks good. Click this one. Let's brighten that one up as well. The green is not bad, but maybe we should make it a little bit not as intense. I think a paler green would be nice. Okay, that looks better to me. I don't know about you. Okay, and this one is kind of a teal color. It's in between this green and this blue. Let's drop that one out altogether. Okay, we took that out. We can move this green over so it moves the green up a little bit higher in the design. And this blue, we can tone that down as well. It's kind of too blue for me. And I don't really like the shade. Let's move it down from, it's closer to the purple range. It doesn't look purple, and it's not purple, but it's closer to the purple range. Let's move it down lighter, closer to the green range, so that it's a different shade. Let's try that, and then we'll pick the lighter color. Say okay. We can move the green back a little bit so that there's more blue in the design. There, I like that. I don't know about you, but I kind of like that. Let's, okay. I like that. We'll go with that one. And I want to save this gradient because I might need to use this again in something. So I'm just going to hit new. And when I hit new, it adds it to my custom gradients at the bottom here. And I can save those as well. I can just hit export and it'll save all the gradients that I have there. So that if something happens that I have to reinstall Photoshop or whatnot, I can just import the gradients and get these all back. Okay, so let's say okay here. And we'll say okay here. We don't want to add any more style to that. We're going to add a few brush elements now and some words, and then we'll be ready to make our mock-up. So one thing I like to use a lot in my design work is brushes. So we're just going to click on brushes. Go up to window and click on brushes, and that'll open up the brush palette. And the brush palette includes both brush settings and brushes. So I have a few brush sets that I've downloaded here. Let's see. I got one called Sparkler Brushes. I got that off VECTEEZY. Now that's a part of VECTEEZY, and if you're signed up for VECTEEZY, you can also take advantage of BrushEasy. So let's just can't really see them because they got them grouped together what they look like in a line. So for instance, if I chose Sparkle 11, That's at 2500 pixels. So that's a little big. Let's see. We'll add it to a new layer because that way we can manipulate the colors and whatnot. So to add a new layer, you hit Control Shift N, and you can name your layer as you're going if you like. I usually flatten my images, so I don't really care to name it. So I'm just going to hit Enter, and it's layer 2. So if right now I have black selected. So if I click on this with black selected, it's going to add black sparkles. I don't like black. Let's undo that. We're going to reverse our colors here by clicking the little double arrow and put the white as the foreground color. And we'll hit the button on our mouse and it puts in white sparkles. Now kind of like that, but I'm not really fussy on that shape. So I'm going to hit Control Z and I'm going to try a different one. Oh, that one is, it's okay, but it's a little big. So I'm going to take the size down. So up here, close to your menu bar, in your options here, you can click on the drop down and change the size that way. Or, let's get rid of that. Oops. In your brush palette, you can hit on brush settings. Now, you can move the spacing so you can see what the brush actually looks like. So if you chose another brush, say that one, and you open the spacing, you can see what the shape of the brush is. I kind of like that one, but it's still a little bit big for me, so I'm going to change the size. So right under the panel here with the different brushes in it, you can shift the size down. Now, the thing about this is that it's saying 2500, but when you move it just a tiny bit, it goes right down to 445 or in the 100s. So it makes the brush really small. I want it like half the size that it was, so that would be about let's try that one. There. Okay. Now we can change the angle on this brush. This brush is at a weird angle, so I'm going to just give it a 90-degree twist. You can actually type in the number of degrees you want. So that was a minus. I'll put in minus 90. That way it's exactly 90 degrees. And we hit tab. Okay. So we can click that here. And we can click it down here and it'll go underneath the flowers because the layer that we're putting it on is between the background layer and the flower layer. So let's click on that. So now we got some sparkles in there. So let's see. Maybe we should get some more sparkles. There's one here that goes straight across. Let's click on that one. And move our spacing over so we can see what it looks like. It's hard to say what it's going to look like, but we can click it up here. That's a bit too intense. It's too much there. Let's try this one. That one looks pretty good. Now your edges will be seamless with this gradient because the gradient was a straight across. So when the tumbler wrap meets in the join at the back of the tumbler, the colors are in exactly the same place. So you don't have to worry about seamlessness with this design. If you put this here and click it, when your tumbler matches up, you're going to have a straight line right down here. And you don't want that. So we'll hit Control Z and we'll make sure that this brush doesn't hit any of the edges. There. Lovely. Now, both of these sparkle brushes were put onto the same layer. So now we can go in and add a bit of color to this. Now, get rid of this there. Sometimes you got to shake your mouse a bit to get the brush to go away. So we're going to double click on this layer. And we're going to choose, let's choose another gradient overlay. Now that's the same gradient overlay, so we don't want that. We want something with maybe some pinks or something into it. Let's try this one. Oh, that's kind of pretty. Something a little brighter maybe? No. It's too bright. Not bright enough. I don't know. Let's just go with this pinky peach color. Nope. Maybe try something different. Maybe try some silver in our gradients down here that I downloaded off the web. There's some silvers in here. Maybe silver might look nice on that blue. So you keep going, going. These are all silver tones here. So let's try. No, it was too black. Too black. That one looks pretty good, I think. We'll go with that one. Say okay. And that's our sparkles. So we can close our brush palette now. I'm not going to use any more brushes. Now we're going to add some text to this. Christmas font? No, I don't think so. Let's try something a little bit bold, but not too masculine. We'll try something a little bit feminine. This beauty heart? No, no. This one, Belly Betty. That's a nice font. I really like that. I think I'm going to try it in black first to see what it looks like. And we'll put Flowers for Mom. Now, that's down behind, but that doesn't matter because we're going to move this over. We're going to put that down here. Where are we going to put it? So let's hit Control T and we'll space it out, sizing, see what looks good. Flowers for Mom. Take it down here. Let's see. I think that looks pretty good. So the design that I'm doing, the purpose of it is not for you to like the design, is to learn how to put these things together and use the elements from VECTEEZY and fonts from dafont.com and brushes from Brusheezy and all these different elements, how you can combine them to come up with your own custom creation. That's what I love to do. There's a little bit too much space between these words for my liking, so I'm going to just get my text tool here and grab these words and hit Control A. Now I'm going to go in Window and I'm going to choose the Character panel. So in the Character panel, there's a spacing. I can't remember the technical term for it. Kerning or leading, I'm not sure. I think it's leading. And it sets the spacing between the letters. Between the rows of letters, should I say, the lines. So our text size now, because we stretched it out, is 90.22. So let's try 72 spacing. No, that's not good. Let's click in here and move this over. And we can take this 4 and we can make the size on that particular part of the text a little bit smaller. Okay. So we'd still like to have that spaced up a little bit. So select it all and go, say, 48. There. I think that looks good. Okay. And we can probably put that up here now, because we can put some more text on there. It's for Mother's Day. It should have a nice Mother's Day message. And if we don't like that straight like that, we can give it a little tilt. There. Give it a little tilt. There. Okay. Flowers for Mom. Now we're going to put a message here. So when you click on it, it's 2.88 is the size. So let's just choose 72 so we can see what we're dealing with here. Okay. We're going to say, Mom is, now this still got this spacing set the same, so that's not much good. We're going to fix that after. Mom is God's greatest gift. So to make the spacing sensible on this, we'll just highlight the works of it, and we'll change that to, the font size on that is 72, so I think a 60 might be good. Yeah, I think. Let's just adjust our spacing a little bit here, our position of the words, so that parts of the G don't overlap. Okay, I'm going to take out this is, and I'm going to take out this line. I'm going to put my cursor up at the end of mom, and I'm going to hit delete. Okay, the spacing is still, and I'm going to just put is in here in smaller letters. So I'll highlight all this. 60 is not enough. Let's try 72. 72 looks good to me. Okay, a mom is God's greatest gift. So we need to put the is back in there. So if we click, let's see, if we click here within the text and we type in is and highlight is just by dragging your cursor across is, and we change that to a 48. It's too small. Let's try a 60. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, a mom is God's greatest gift. So I think it's totally centered, right in this dead center of the design would be good. And an easy way to find out where center is, if you click on your background layer and you hit Control T, it'll give you the center points. It'll show you where the center points are. So you just go up into your ruler, click your mouse button down, and drag down a guide. Now that's our horizontal center, or sorry, our vertical center, and this is our horizontal center. So now, if we click off of that, we click our move tool here, it'll take the highlight off that background layer. We can click our text again, hit Control T to transform, and you see that is a little low. It's not centered vertically. So we can drag that up, and when it hits the center line, the line will light up pink. Okay, and I think that's looking pretty good. Okay, so now just hit enter, and I think we got a beautiful little tumbler wrap done here. So I'm going to save that now. I'm going to save it in my Tumblr files. Actually, I'm going to export it as a PNG. Oops. Let's see. Got a Tumblr folder here somewhere. I got a lot of stuff. Tumblers. This is some other tumblers that I made for Mother's Day. I'm going to call this one Daffodils. And that's exported as a PNG, so if I was to take that now and send it to my printer, cut it out, I could tape it onto a tumbler, and I'd have my tumbler in 8 minutes in my 3D convection oven. Okay. So I'm also going to save this as a PSD file because I might like to modify that. I might like to put a pot of roses in here and put some different color gradient on the back. That would be cool. So I'm just going to do that right now. I'm going to save that as a PSD file. Go back and find my Tumblr folder. Tumblers. Okay, I'm going to call that Daffodil as well. Daffodils. Okay, so I got my base layer done. So now I'm going to go back into Vecteezy and see if I can find roses in a flower pot. Vecteezy. Roses. I do a lot of work for Dart leagues and stuff, and I'm always on here looking for Dart stuff on Vecteezy as well. Roses in pot. Not much there for that. Maybe if I just search roses. Oh, here we go. These are nice. have another look on the next page and see what's there first. Some pretty flowers there, but it's not roses. Nope, let's go back. Go back, hit our back button here. Maybe if we changed our search terminology, we get what we're looking for. We'll just search roses and see what comes up. Wow, they got some beautiful pictures here. Can't have anything with an edge on it because then it won't be seamless. And if I was going to open, say if I wanted to get these pink roses, which I would just absolutely love to do, I could go in and get these flowers and it wouldn't have the edge on them because this is all masked to make it a rectangle. But we're not doing Illustrator, like I said, we're not at Illustrator tonight, so we won't be doing that. I'm just going to find some nice roses and then we'll modify our design a little and do our mock-ups. These are beautiful as well. I'm so impressed with VECTEEZY. I can't say enough good about it. Next. This looks nice. We can do that. It's not in a pot, but we can get this design and isolate this and put that on our tumbler. Open that and unzip. Well, we won't unzip it, but we'll just grab what we wanted as a zip file. It's still downloading. It's only 17.6 megabytes. Double click. And again, it always includes the EPS file to use in Illustrator, and it gives you a JPEG on this one. That says dartboard. I don't want a dartboard. Okay, here we go. Valentine's generated JPEG. Double click. It'll open it up. Now I'm going to do a bit of surgery on this file to get rid of what I don't want. It's a background layer, so we got to take the lock off it. And we're going to get our rectangular marquee tool. And first of all, we're going to get rid of these words. Oh, not down far enough. Start over. Get rid of the words. Delete. Okay. We'll get rid of this. Delete. Now we're going to get our magic wand tool. We're going to select, this might be a little tricky. We're going to select the white area. Yeah. It's picking up the shadow here. So we don't want that. Right now tolerance is set to 32. If you up your tolerance to say, let's put it up to 100 and see what happens. Hit tab to get off of there. Okay, so try it again. Now it's getting the inside bits of the rows. 100 is too high. Let's try 60. That looks pretty good. We'll hit Shift Control I to reverse that selection and we'll delete. Oops, shouldn't have reversed it. Let's undo that. Control Z and Shift Control I to reverse it and we'll hit delete. Okay. So you can see it got a bit of stuff left over here and it got a few edges around here, but that's okay. This is only at 33%, so when we zoom in we can see all that, so we'll get rid of it. Hit Control D to deselect it. There's a little artifact over here we'll get rid of. Just take our rectangular marquee and we'll go over that and hit delete and that's gone. So let's zoom in. Hit your Control plus, and you can see there's little bits of stuff all around the edges here. So I'm going to grab that color. I'm going to get my magic wand and I'm going to click in here and that gets the same color inside. So we'll click contiguous because that way it'll only get what's on the outside. Okay, got that bit. That's good. We'll take it that bit. Anything that's contiguous, I guess you already know this. Shouldn't need to tell you. Contiguous just means continuous. Okay, delete. So you can just go all the way around your image and find little bits of stuff that you don't want. And like I said, you don't have to use roses. You can go in and you can get bluebells or hydrangeas or anything that you want. So we're just clicking a little bits of stuff around the edges here to get rid of it. It's kind of hard to see actually. I'm going to put a background layer on this. I'm going to put a white background layer. So shift control N. We'll just flood fill with white or black, doesn't matter. Hit your paint bucket tool and flood fill it. It's going to cover it all over. I must have something selected here. Hit Control D. There. Okay, drag that down underneath your rows now, and you can see all the little artifacts around there. Okay, so we're gonna have to take a bit of time to clean this up. Okay, I think it'll be fine. So we're going to get rid of this background layer now. Delete, and we're going to click on this layer, hit Control A, Control C, and now we're going to go back to our daffodils file, and we're going to take the visibility off the daffodils, and we're going to paste the roses in there. Now that's a little small, so I'm going to get my move tool. I'm going to move it over here where I want it. Hit Control T, and we're going to stretch it out a little bit. These graphics now, with the way Photoshop is, when you stretch them out, you can go, I think, double the size without losing any actual detail. Okay. Alrighty. So now we got our rows. We're going to keep the words all the same. Maybe the rows could go a little bit bigger. Alright, let's see. And we can move it over a little bit. Hit enter. Okay. Now we got to change the background color. Everything else is good to go except for the background color. So this is where we got our gradient overlay on layer 2. So let's just double click that. And we'll select gradient overlay. We'll go in and pick a nice, I don't know, pink maybe. Pink. Oh no, that's our sparkles. We can't change those. Hit cancel. Our background layer is the bottom layer, sorry, layer 0. Okay. Gradient overlay. Oh yeah, it shows you the one that we already picked. Alright. So we go into gradients. We want something kind of subtle because those roses are quite bold. It's a little too pink for me. We don't want anything with white on it. I hate leaving areas of sublimation tumblers white. I hate that. What do you think of that? I wonder. I'd like to know. It's kind of nice. No, don't like that. No, purple does not go. Purple does not go with those roses, although, let's try it. Say okay, okay, Let's change the color of our sparkles to a dark, dark, dark color, probably a black. So our sparkles, we'll double click on the layer 2 for the sparkles. We'll take off gradient overlay and we'll change it to a color overlay. And we're going to say black. And now we're going to change the color of the words to a white. So we're doing both layers of text, so let's put them in a group. So you click on one, you move your mouse up, you hold your control key and click on that, and it selects both layers. So hit Control G and that puts them in a group. So now you can apply your layer style once only, and that applies it to whatever's in that group. So we're going to color overlay and we're going to change that to white. And I don't think it works. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like once it's on the tumbler, on the tumbler mock-up. I think it looks nice, but I think this sparkles needs to be toned down. I think that's too much. So let's just make it less opaque. So by selecting the layer, select opacity and turn opacity down on the sparkles. And yeah, I think that might work. We'll go with that. I think that looks good. Let's go ahead and clear the guides. So go in View, Guides, Clear Guides. Okay, we'll save that. We'll save it as, or export it, sorry. Export it as, I saved the other one as daffodils. I'll save this one as roses. Okay. I'm not going to save the PSD of this one because I already have the PSD of the other one, and I can go in and use that to make any modifications that I need. Okay. So next thing we're going to do is build our mock-ups, and I've created a tool, a JavaScript that works with Photoshop to automatically create mock-ups. So let's go. In order for that to work, you need to close everything that you have open. You can't have any files open when you run this mock-up script. Okay, so let's go File, whoops, Scripts, Browse. Now I've saved that, I think, in Documents. Yep, Tumbler Mockup Maker. So in this script, I just double click Mockup Maker, and it asks me where's my Tumblr design file. So my Tumblr design file is in this folder, Tumblrs. That's where I saved it. So first one we're going to do is daffodils. And we're going to say OK. So now this is doing its thing. It's doing this little bit of magic where it selects what it needs out of that file for the front, center, and, sorry, the left, center, and back of the Tumblr. Okay, now it's asking for our mockup file. So where would that be? That's in the same folder. Documents, Tumblr Mockup Maker, and our mockup file's right here. And that's a Photoshop file. So we'll just let it go and it'll do it all for you. That's the last one I did, so that's why that one's showing up there. Now it tells me your mockup has been created. Click here to see it. And it's already got it saved, so I don't need to save it anymore. And this is what our gorgeous Tumblr is going to look like. I think it looks pretty. Okay. So we're going to close that. We're going to go Scripts, Browse, and go back to Documents, Tumblr Maker Mockup, and Mockup Maker. Let that run. It'll ask for our Tumblr design, and we're going to give it the roses one this time. Roses. This one. So again, it's extracting what it needs from the file in order to make the mockup. Okay, now it's asking me for my mockup file. Documents. Tumbler Makeup Maker. So my mock-up has been created. Click here to see it. There. I think it looks lovely. So if you'd like to have any of these files for your personal use, I will have them posted on my Patreon page. I haven't got them in the membership part. I'll put them in the part that you don't need to be subscribed to as a patron to my Patreon page. You do need to have a Patreon account that you can log into Patreon, but it won't cost you a cent. If you do like my designs, I post all my new designs to Etsy, and when I post them to Etsy, I'll be posting them for my patrons on my Patreon page to download and enjoy. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I hope you'll consider subscribing to my page. I'd love it if you go check out the VECTEEZY website and see what it has to offer. I have a link posted in the description below, and I also hope that you'll stop on by my Patreon page and download these files if you like them.